In this video today, I'm going to be talking about topwaters. We're going through poppers, buzz baits, frogs, going through it all, teaching you how to use it, whether you've been using it for years, whether you never even heard of topwaters. Personally, it's one of my favorite baits. I've been using it for years, have a lot of experience with it, and it's one of my favorite baits to use. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how to use it, where to use it, and go through the setups that I use for it. So let's get into it. So my favorite is poppers. This is a Whopper Plopper, and got Whopper Ploppers, and you got just normal poppers. And now the difference between the two of them, is it has a cup, size of cup right there as you can see. Then the difference between this one is it has kind of like a spinning, moving thing on the back, and that has like a lot of action, so it kind of makes some like really loud noises. But with this, it makes loud noises, just not as much. So this is, you want to work it a lot slower than a Whopper Plopper. So with the popper, you want to cast it out next to the bank, preferably like rocks is like my favorite place to use them, or even by the boat ramp could be really good if it's rocky. And you just want to cast it right next to the bank and pop it slowly with the popper, and work it slowly. And sometimes right by the boat you want to stop it, just completely stop it for like 3 seconds, because the bass, if you work it too quickly, what could happen is the bass will be chasing it, and if you work it too quickly, they could just miss it, completely miss it. And that's even with crankbaits, that could happen too. But with a Whopper Plopper, is you want to cast it out there, and you could use it with a spinning reel bait caster, and it's a little bit quicker of a bait. But right now, this time of year, you want to use it a little bit slower, because the fish they're aggressive, but they just want to move slower, especially in this hot weather. They're just not as quick. So you just want to cast it near some structure, rocks preferably, and reel it fairly quickly, and stop it sometimes. Reel it, kind of go through some different rhythms. Use it with some lay down trees, but that's what they look like. This is a little bit chunkier one. That's about 15 bucks at Academy or Shield. And they could even get this big, which is about big as they get. You catch really big bass on that, huge bass. But that's like a bluegill pattern. That's really juicy. It puts off a lot of water. But that's with the bigger rod, maybe like a 7.7 heavy. So that's a bigger one. They could get even this small, which is pretty much ideal. And we've been using these lately at local lakes. I've been catching really good bass off of them. But that's really solid. And when you catch a bass, you don't really have to do much. Just, you see them blow up, and you just set the hook. You don't have to set it crazy hard, because it has 2 treble hooks. And I'm going to show you guys how to use these in a second, but not yet. And next we got buzz baits. And these are actually pretty cool. This is still something I'm learning. So you could hear that. That's why they call it buzz bait, because it buzzes. With this, it has no skirt on it. Skirt meaning like fabric. As you can see, it has fabric on there. So this one, why it doesn't have that, is I actually took it off. So you could skip it under like docks, because with the fabric on it, it just doesn't skip as well. But that's supposed to imitate like a frog, but it's a really loud bait. Then you could even rig it up with a trailer. See, it's supposed to imitate a frog. You could use that kind of near some lay down brush, rocks, as I said before. You catch really good bass. It could look like that. Really solid bait to use. That one has a thing right there. I'm not sure what that's called, but it makes it sound a little bit louder. But that's money, especially in like darker water. Want to work it, it's a fast bait. So when you cast it out, again, throw it pretty shallow, kind of reel really quick, and sometimes stop it, but you can't really stop it too much, because it'll actually sink, because it's a little bit heavy. But you just want to reel it pretty fast. So that's buzz baits. They could even look like this. I picked this one up at a local tackle store. It's kind of crazy looking. It's like a hybrid. It's like a Whopper Plopper and a buzz bait, a really loud bait. So you want to throw this in some shallow cover, throw it around some little shad, but it's really loud bait if you want something loud. But topwaters catch really big bass, and they could also catch, obviously, small bass. But you'll catch white bass, that's mainly the two things you could catch off of them. Then we're gonna move on to the frogs. Now with the frog, it's really cool bait. So it's supposed to imitate a frog, topwater frog, and they could have a popping mouth on them, or let's see if we have one. Like no popping mouth. This is a smaller one. See, it doesn't have like a lip as like the popper has. It doesn't have a lip on it. But they usually just look like this. When I get them out of the package, I like to cut their legs off. Usually they're about that long, which is too long for me personally, so I like to cut them about halfway. And the reason why I do that is bass actually come up just like that. They don't come up on the front of the head of it, so they'll come up on the back, and usually they'll go through like the legs just to drown the frog. So that's what they would do with the actual frog. But so you want to cut it about halfway, so they'll just inhale the whole bait. And you give about 2 seconds, 1, 2, then set it pretty hard, because you're going to be in some structure, some grass like that, some moss. So frogs are really fun, obviously, when you catch them. And they could even look like this. You could Texas rig this, weightless or weighted, with some moss. And it'll kind of sink. So, but that's really cool. I haven't had much success off of it yet. I'm going to keep using this, but that's a really cool. You could even throw that on a buzz bait. But that's a really solid. So the black ones is mainly for like darker water, cloudier days, as today is sunny. So you want to use something on sunny days a little bit like a white bottom or some yellow to it. So, and it could even range from really small, which I don't use that one that much, but that catches a little bit smaller bass. But frogs are really solid. Personally, my favorite is poppers, and I could get this big, which is actually the size of a normal frog, which is almost half the size of my hand, which bullfrogs could get really big. So this is actually like a really, like, kind of imitates like a baby frog. But with this, you just want to cast it up and pop it, twitch, and you have to work it really slow, especially in like mossy water. That's where you mainly want to throw it, because frogs hang out shallow and moss. They don't want to go too deep, because if you go too deep, the real frogs could actually be scared of, obviously, getting ate by bass. So throw it pretty shallow and has a popping mouth to it. Some don't have a popping mouth. Personally, I don't like to throw a popping mouth, but they work great. So that's the 3 topwaters. I'm going to show you how to use them and where to use them and what rod and reel to use off of them. So let's get into that. So I'm going to use a popper, actually a Whopper Plopper. So I'm going to tie on this bad boy. So that's supposed to imitate kind of like bluegill up on the top, or as you see, it's kind of green, so a frog. So we're going to throw this on. I'm going to tie it on. Now I like to use a Lew's speed stick. It's about, I have about, I think, 15-pound line on this. So that's about ideal for topwaters. You could use braid. I like to not use braid personally, but you could kind of experiment with that. Just a simple knot. You don't want to do something weird with it, because I used to be terrible at tying knots and catch big bass and it'll break. But so this is what it looks like in the water. So you kind of have to move it quick for it to actually plop, because if you do that, it doesn't really make too much noise. So that's why they call it the Whopper Plopper, because it pops. Sounds really good. So when you really want to throw this is like mornings and evenings is perfect. So right now it'd be from all the way to 6:30 in the morning all the way up to 10. Then the bass will kind of shut off about 10:30. It's right when that sun actually rises, when you pretty much want to stop fishing. But even you can catch big bass when the sun rises too. But morning and evening is the best time to use top waters. So you want to cast it about close as you can to the bank, not too shallow. It has that really good sound to it. So you don't want to work it too fast. So like a medium reel. And this is a 7.2. The line weight is 12 to 25 pounds is max that you should be throwing on this reel. But it's so fun when they come up because you could just obviously see the bass come up and inhale the bait. So if you've never heard of this bait, I really highly encourage you to go at your local tackle shop and pick it up, because it could be really fun in the mornings and evenings to be catching big bass. Just like that, work it horizontally to the boat or the bank. Now with a popper, you want to twitch, pop, about 3 times, and then you want to stop it, twitch, pop, kind of like that. I mean, it's not going to look like that, obviously, because it's a Whopper Plopper. But you want to go through some, like, cover like that. It's a little bit mossy, so you can't throw this in moss because the treble hooks will catch the moss. So that's when you use, like, a topwater frog, because the hooks on it aren't treble hooks, and they're on the top of the bait, which won't get moss on it. So you want to throw it in some structure like this. Now this is about midday, so not ideal time to use it. But you want to throw it in shallow, work it slow. You want to stop it right by the boat, like right there, because the bass could be chasing it up by the boat, and if you just yank it right out of the water, you can miss the fish. This is about half a foot of water, so really shallow. Make sure to find some bait fish if you can. And this is really a bait that you don't have to use live scope with. But if you have live scope, you could use that to your advantage. But use it with some like rocky cover. Work it real shallow. So if you like to not have like slow action baits, meaning like Texas rig, that's a slower bait because you work it really slow up and down on the bottom. So if you like action baits, meaning something you kind of reel fast, and you like kind of like my dad, he likes fast baits. He likes to get a reaction from the bass. Work it fairly slow. Stop it. Now, as I said, this will catch largemouth bass and smallmouth bass. You could catch pike, walleye, actually pike, muskie. I'm not sure about walleye, but I know for sure pike go up on the surface. But we're in the Midwest, so it's mainly just largemouth bass and hybrids. So you work it really slow. Now what we're working with right here is, there's like kind of gravel patch right here. So there's usually a lot of bass right here. It's a really loud bait, which will get their attention. And right here, obviously it laid down dead tree. But when they come up, it's the best. Just get to see that big old mouth come up and inhale it. So the best time to use it is usually not midday, so early mornings and late in the evening, right before it gets dark, is the perfect time to use it. You could catch it midday. You could get some good midday bites, but mainly morning and evening. Just want to work it real slow. So now, I think I should tie on like a buzz bait just to show you guys how to use that. Now it's optional to use a trailer, meaning a soft plastic on the back of it. You don't have to. It depends sometimes where you're at. Now we're working with some wind today. It's about, I'd say 12 mile an hour, which isn't nothing crazy. Sometimes you want some wind. We're gonna throw this. Now this one doesn't have a trailer. But this is a good bait to use. Now mainly all topwaters are kind of loud, just to get those bass to come up and hear it. See, if you don't move it at all, it'll just sink to the bottom. So you want it, it's really loud. So you want to work it around some cover. This is even louder than the Whopper Plopper and the popper. It's supposed to imitate like a bait fish. Now with this, you want to work it around the same stuff. So rocky bottoms. You could get some gravel rock. You could get pea gravel. Some bigger rock over here. It's a really good action to it. So you kind of want to work it like medium. It's a really loud bait though. Kind of hard to cast because it kind of goes to the sideways. Kind of goes sideways when you cast because it's such a big bait. Now this one you can't throw in moss because it has that hook exposed. So you want to throw it in open water. But I say if you're just getting started with topwater, especially right now, I would just start off with a Whopper Plopper because it's really easy. A Whopper Plopper or just a normal popper. So a Whopper Plopper was one with the, right here, the green one. So that's what it looks like. So I'd just go pick that up. I mean, it's pretty much the same concept with all of them. You just cast and reel. Besides the popper is a lot different. But with the Whopper Plopper and the buzz bait, you pretty much just want to reel. Throw it around some cover. But sometimes when it's really hot like this, especially midday, they won't want to bite. Sometimes you have to entice them to bite. Kind of have to annoy the fish. Okay, so now I showed you guys how to use the Whopper Plopper, the buzz bait. I think that's good for now. And eventually I'm going to show you guys catching bass off of it, but it's obviously midday. It's hot. This lake is also really overfished, so you don't really want to be using topwater midday because they see a lot of topwater because it's a really popular bait. Let's put this back. So that's the baits I like to use right now. My favorite baits that I like to use. I hope you guys got something from this video. Maybe try out some of these baits that I showed you, that I recommended to you, and go at your academy, local academy, or sporting goods and pick up some of these baits. As I said before, evening and mornings are the best time to use them, especially right now. It's prime time. Get out there and go catch some bass. Bye for now.